Hi guys, and welcome back to the Cassie Projects. It is spooky season. Woo! That was terrible. That was embarrassing. It is spooky season. Woo! Which means we get to create spooky, creepy little things in our sketchbooks today. And we're going to be doing it in the Art HYGGE Sketchbook, which is an art prompt book designed by myself, inspired by the wonderful season of autumn. And I've got a few prompts in here which you can give a bit of a spooky vibe. Make sure you stick around till the end because I will be revealing the winner of the mini competition where we named these adorable little seals. We've got a lot to do, so let's get straight into it. The first prompt is creatures of the autumn night. Draw a spooky or silly character or create a scene where these twilight beings gather. Mysterious, mischievous, you decide. Today I thought I would create some spooky, well, not really spooky, adorable little ghosts, and they are gathered together to drink some hot tea or coffee or hot chocolate, whatever drink that they decide. What do you think ghosts drink? Do you think they drink tea, coffee, hot chocolate, maybe something stronger? Let me know in the comments what you think they're drinking. But anyway, I got sidetracked. I've created these three little ghosts and I just thought they were so adorable, and I wanted to add a nice dark spooky black background behind them, and then I'm going to use a very muted muddy brown colour for the floor of this picture. Now I'm going in with my Art HYGGE acrylic markers, and I find these very therapeutic and enjoyable to draw with, especially when I'm getting myself into the swing of it. This is the first prompt that I was creating and I always get a little bit nervous to start with. They give me that bit of confidence. I'm using some whites and greys and blending them together to create this lovely ghostly colour, and then to contrast against these muted tones and blacks and whites, I thought I would add this lovely, vibrant, comforting autumnal colours to their little woolly hats. I just adore the contrast of it. I love that the hats stand out so much, and it kind of makes the ghosts even more comfy and adorable. I also wanted to add some colour to the mugs that they're holding, so I'm going to use those same colours that I've used for the hats on these mugs because I really like that limited colour palette that we've got going on here. I did say that they were drinking tea, but this brown is a very warm coffee or hot chocolate colour, so that makes me think that they're not drinking tea after all. I'm adding some little steam lines to make it nice and warm, and I almost forgot their adorable little rosy cheeks. We have to have some little rosy cheeks on this ghost. I added the line work back in there, but with a very, very fine liner, and I love this one so much. It's just so adorable. I love drawing little cute ghosts. I think they're very happy being gathered together. Did you know that this book is actually available on my website with the exclusive Theodora sticker? She is so cute. She's a cozy little teapot and I adore her. But you can also get the book alone on Amazon. This book was actually part of my autumn update where I have filled my shop up with even more beautiful stickers, which I know you're going to love. Next up is decorate the door. Think pumpkins, fallen leaves and cozy vibes. Show off your seasonal spirit. I have created a sketch over this entire picture, so we would just start it off with this very blank porch. Now I was going to go for cozy autumnal vibes, but because it's almost Halloween, I thought I would dress this door in a bunch of spooky, fun Halloween type things. So we've got spider webs, we've got bats, we've got pumpkins, we've even got spiders, which I really don't like, but I thought it was very fitting for this page. Now I'm going to use my alcohol markers for this page. I really enjoy colouring pages using alcohol markers, and this is very much like a colouring page, but you get to add your twist on it, which is really fun. It makes you enjoy the process even more. I'm going in with a lovely purple colour for the door. I thought that that would contrast really nicely against the oranges of the pumpkins and make them really stand out. And then I'm using lots of grey tones for the paintwork and for the flooring, just to give it more of a spooky dark vibe to it. I did add a lovely autumnal garland to this. I just couldn't resist adding some autumn leaves. So we got lots of reds and oranges, and then in between each of the leaves we've got these bright fairy lights, which I love so much. And I've actually added a bit of that light to the tops of the windows, imagining the fairy lights are hitting that glass and adding a bit of a reflection, because I wanted those windows to be black. I wanted it to be dark and spooky, like you don't know what's inside this spooky house. Now, to stick to this lovely colour palette, because we've used lots of oranges for the pumpkins and for the leaves, I thought I would add a wood trim to the door and to the windows, just to bring all those oranges and browns together, and again contrasting against that lovely purple door. I decided to use my Art HYGGE markers to add some of those details and just tidy it up a little bit. So we've got those gold fixtures on the door, and I'm tidying up the windows with that brown colour. Now, I also wanted to go in with my Jelly Roll white gel pen to go over the webs, because they looked a little bit lost. You couldn't really see them, so I wanted those to be white so that they would stand out a little bit more. And I'm also adding some of the white to the inner of the pumpkin to make them look like they're glowing inside, just to give them that little bit more spookiness to it. And to finish it off, I'm adding a spooky ghost inside the window. He's just peering out. I genuinely had so much fun creating this, and I love that I got to add my own touch to this colouring style page. Next up, we have got potion or soup. A bubbling woodland stew, or a magical brew, or just a comforting blend of those freshly picked vegetables. Now, because we're doing a bit of a spooky episode, I had to do a potion. So I've created a little sketch here, and I'm going straight in with my acrylic markers. And I'm doing this because I decided to not have line work for this picture. We're just going to have the lovely colour. Now, I started off with this lovely lime yellowy green colour. I wanted it to look a little bit like snot, and I'm adding the darker greens to add some shadows and just to give it a little bit more life. And I'm blending those colours together to make it look gruesome and bubbling and disgusting. We've got these almost swirls of magic. The potion, the gross snotty substance, twirls around and creates these bubbles. You might be wondering what this potion can actually do. It's quite hard to get this potion down because it's this very thick, gloopy mixture that makes a squelch sound when you stir it. So it's quite hard to swallow. But once you do, it gives you this incredible ability. It actually allows you to talk to frogs and snails and even mushrooms for up to an hour. Now, I must make you aware that frogs are actually very judgmental characters, so you may be fairly shocked at what they talk about. They may even talk about you, and you might catch them saying some very horrible things. Mushrooms, however, are very, very friendly and love to get to know you. And you'll be very surprised that snails do not stop talking. They are chatterboxes. They may walk slowly, but they can talk very, very fast. But I have got one question for you guys. What are we going to call this potion? Because it doesn't actually have a name.
That's right, it's mini competition time.
We have its ability, we know what it does, and we know what it looks like, but it doesn't have a name. So let me know in the comments what you think it should be called, this lovely snotty elixir. And the winning name suggestion will win a voucher for my shop. I'm going to kindly ask you guys for a little bit of a favour.
Before you're completely put off by me.
Could you click that little subscribe button down below? It's completely free to do and it helps the channel out so much. So now you've done that, I'm going to prepare you for this shocking next part of this video. It's going to include feet. I'm so sorry. Muddy footprints. Draw or paint footprints left in the mud, thinking about the shapes and patterns the footprints make. Ew. That's right, that's my foot, and I am dipping it in paint. I'm letting you guys see because it's disgusting and I had to go through it. And yeah, I popped a footprint onto this page so that I could draw around it. Now this is a similar vibe to a painting that I used to have in my shop, which had a spine and then it had these flowers coming off it, and I thought it was just really beautiful. Now I'm going to do a similar sort of thing. We've got this footprint on here and I'm going to add some autumnal leaves and flowers just surrounding it and through the center of this footprint. It just gives it this very delicate beauty to it. I'm using lots of different fine liners, so I've got a variety from 0.05 up to a very bold one which is 1mm, and one of my favorite parts was adding these little footprints that wrap around the heel. I love that it's got footprints upon footprints, and I'm using all these different fine liners so that we've got these different layers. We've got some finer leaves and some thicker leaves, and I just think that little bit of detail just makes it a little bit more interesting. Once I added all the flowers and leaves, I traced around that footprint as well. And then I'm going to go in with my alcohol markers to add some colour. Once again, I'm using lots of autumnal kind of colours. We've got reds and oranges and yellows and even some browns in there. And I had a look on Pinterest for some ideas for the flowers that I could use. So obviously we've got these very autumnal shaped leaves, but also with the flowers, I wanted them to be very autumnal. So I'm not going to do any vivid colours for the petals of the flowers. I'm going to stick to those reds and oranges and yellow tones. I finished it off by adding a few dots here and there, and I think that this one has turned out so beautiful and incredibly delicate for something as ugly as a foot. Last week was another mini competition. I gave you guys the opportunity to name these adorable little seals, and you did not disappoint. There were so many name suggestions. I chose my 4 favourite name combinations and took it to a poll, and you guys picked Nori, Pebble and Bean. So the winner is Gidget2324. Thank you so much for the amazing name suggestions. Now last but certainly not least is a shelf full of autumn. Design a bookshelf that is stacked with tiny treasures, glowing potions or dusty books. Now I started off by creating this bookshelf with lots of shelves on there at different heights so that I could add lots of different items on there. Of course I'm going to add some plants that dangle across the different shelves, and I wanted to add lots of things that kind of had a bit of a spooky vibe, especially for this episode. So we've got a black cat, we've got lots of books and potions, and even a cauldron filled with a lovely potion in there. I decided to add a lovely autumnal garland, and it's a lot of things that I have already drawn throughout this episode, all piled and squished into this lovely dusty bookcase. I even had fun adding some spider webs to this bookcase to give it that extra dusty, spooky kind of vibe. And then I'm going in with my alcohol markers again. I've really enjoyed using them this week. I have really tried to work on layering with my alcohol markers to create deeper shades and give it that lovely shadowing. And I've had a lot of fun learning the process of layering them to create more shadows and things like that. I decided to go for these lovely green bottles for the potions. I think that looks really nice, and I've got lots of different colours on this page. I didn't go for a very limited colour palette, I just added colour wherever I wanted it to go. I I spent a lot of time on this one, adding some darker tones to create that shadowing. I used a lot of warm greys to create the shadows, and then I went in with a brown colour for the back of the bookshelf, and I left the yellow surrounding the candles, which made them look like they were burning so bright on this bookshelf. I added even darker browns to the corners of the bookshelves and the shelves where there were no candles lit, just to make them look like they were sat in the shadows. And then I'm using my Jelly Roll white gel pen to add all those lovely highlights, adding the flames to the candles. Absolutely transformed them. It looks so beautiful with the white glow, and adding all those glossy highlights to all those different items and treasures on this shelf. Now, before I show you the big reveal, let's fill in our little contents page. Today we created muddy footprints, decorate the door, potion or soup, creatures of the autumn night, and a shelf full of autumn. So there you go. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this spooky little episode of the Art HYGGE Sketchbook. Do carry on watching some more videos over here. I'll pop in a spooky little playlist for you to enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.